Hey everybody, how are you doing today? So in this one, I actually wanted to talk about some habits, and it's more about my habits because I want to share with you where my, extreme or gauge can be, and for you, you can decide and compare with yourself where you would like yours to be. Now, when I say compare, I don't wish for you to compare in the way where you're like, oh, you're like that and I'm worse, or oh, you're like that and I'm better. I mean, in a way where you can see where my extreme is compared to where your extreme might be. And it's nothing about you have to do what I do. Not at all. That's not what life is about. Life is about seeing what other people do and deciding where you feel comfortable and where you would like to be. It helps you to be inspired to maybe want to go that far, or it helps you to be like, oh man, I am happy exactly where I am, or I don't even want to go there. I would rather do something like this. And that's what life is all about. But it's not about comparing and being like, I have to be like them, and oh, I'm worse off because I'm not like them, or oh, I'm better off because I don't like to think about it like that. If you like to, then that's what you do. But I don't like to think of better or worse, because for me, the way I see it, it's about soul lessons, the things that we're meant to go through for our own unique things to bring us to who we are and where we wish to go. And that's what it's about. So when I bring up these things, please don't think that you have to be like this. You should have been like that. It makes you a better person. It doesn't make you a better person, because it's all about the balance in finding yourself. So what I'm talking about here today is actually going to be habits that I came up with when I was young about no waste. Because for me, I actually had a really hard time with the starving children and the people that have no access to clean water and a lot of the suffering, because that's what we were raised in. When I was younger, there was so much about the small kids from Somalia that have the big bellies. There was so much about the starving, so much about adoption, so much about money that you can give to help. And then me finding out that the money that you give hardly even goes there, because it goes mostly to the charities and only maybe 1% gets to the children, if it does. I mean, there's so much in that. This was so long ago, and it's still nothing has changed much. There are things that are better now, but there's also lots of things that we don't understand that are not better, and we could definitely become better as a humanity. At the same time, there are so many humans that they don't have to say this stuff to people, and they just do the action. And it's amazing, because there is a lot. At the same time, there's extremes of everything, and I'll be talking about that soon, because there's definitely examples out there where when humanity super helps, the people don't know what to do with it because it's too much. So we need to come up with a balance in some way, which is why I came up with, when we find balance within ourselves, it's actually, and you know what, all teachers have too in this realm of world, because I'm not sharing anything new, but basically that if we come into balance within ourselves, the world within, everything outside of ourselves also reflects that. And that's actually how we come up with a better world. So for me, as a child, I actually, to not waste anymore, especially because I grew up in an Asian family, we used to eat bowls of rice with every single meal. I actually ate so much rice with every meal that even though I wanted to appreciate it, I actually hated rice and didn't eat it for a decade after, when I think I had stopped eating rice when I was like 10 and didn't eat it until I was older. And I only started appreciating it again with when I got to put sauces on it. Like, I love rice and sauce. I eat rice all the time. Not all the time like I used to, but I do eat it a whole bunch. And it's delicious. And I definitely learned to appreciate the grain for sure. The thing is, so when I would eat it, I would make sure to eat every single piece of rice. Every single piece. There wouldn't be any left in the bowl. Because the way I saw it was, if there was a starving child and they saw even just a few pieces, they would kill or die for that little piece of rice. Possibly. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't, but that's what I thought when I was younger. And when I say that, obviously not literally, but that it would mean so much to them to have that deliciousness and to have just, at restaurants, I'm sorry, I actually find it a big waste. And it's gotten better now, but do you want to know how long it's taken? It's literally taken, and I will say this, 17 years at least, in my eyes, because I have been looking at habits and wanting to change things for so long, and it's training, it's conditioning, it's whatever we decide to choose. And so I actually would refuse, if I don't want any more water, when people want to fill it up, I don't allow them unless I'm going to drink it all. If they happen to fill it, I will finish the whole thing, because I will look at that water and think about all the people that would wish that they would have access to that water. It's the same thing as, do you need that straw? Do you need the extra napkin? Do you need that extra water? Do you need that extra food? Do you need that? There is so much waste. Do you need the extra bag? Do you? And for me, it was about creating habits where I would use less, checking my carbon footprint. Even with napkins, like I don't even use paper towel anymore. I used to use paper towel like a madman. I don't even really use it anymore at all. And it's funny to see how much less waste you have and accumulate and don't use. Now, on the other side of that, I actually went super extreme to the point where I tried not to use anything that used containers, plastic, anything that wasn't really recyclable, like that I could lessen my recycling. But I want you to understand something. When I did this, it was actually a long time ago where no one actually would do a lot of the things they're doing today, which actually led me to not have very fun experiences because it meant that I couldn't do a lot. That while there was so much enjoyment in other people's lives and I was refusing to not do things, especially with where humanity was at the time, it made it really hard. The other thing about this is we tend, like I said, to go from one extreme to the next. So the thing about like food containers is the reason why they made those food containers was because of health concerns. The reason why they went from paper to plastic was because of trees. So going back doesn't make it better because we're still losing those trees. I'm sorry. New trees are not the same as older trees, okay? They're just not. At the same time, we need to find the balance. There are so many things where we need to find a balance in. So all I'm trying to say is I went from one extreme of completely no waste, which actually led to not very fun life either. And nowadays, I mean, it's easier because so many people are more conscious about this and care about this. But what I mean about the health concerns are that businesses with the health and food safety inspectors, there's certain things that ourselves as human habit, if we don't do it correctly, we can actually get really sick. And then we would blame the company for it, even though it could have been our fault. And that's exactly why they're like, no. But at the same time now, like more and more people are doing it. And so if we are ourselves more conscious of this stuff, we actually help each other out. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this stuff up is because people wish to know how they can help the world and humanity out by just doing little things in their lives. And this is kind of what I'm trying to say is if you become responsible for yourself and your own habits, you will actually help so much of humanity out. It's crazy how much you will. And it's actually very surprising and amazing how much you actually save on waste just from becoming conscious of how much you are wasting without realizing, with being like, oh, well, there's so much of it, why not just use it? Or, oh, this. And at the same time, you need to understand that when you live in that, do not live in a mindset of lack of. I wasn't living lack of. I was more living as, when I eat all of this, it means that this other person in some energetic way will be able to receive what I'm not wasting. And because do you know how much food waste there is in just North America alone? It's insane. Okay, there's so much waste. And to me, it's crazy that we can't get or make certain, I'll get into that stuff later because it starts to make me kind of upset. But I will talk about it because we are doing better. I mean, they always say we're all just doing our best, right? And it's true because what you're doing at that moment, it's not like you're not going through things. It's not like you're expected to be the top human ever. It's more about what can you do in these moments that you're okay with, okay, that you're able to do. And if you want to put more effort, sometimes you can. And if you don't, other times it's okay. It's recognizing that life is a flow and that it balances in time. It doesn't always have to be right now. It can be in this moment of now, or in that moment of now, or in this moment of now. And I do have my moment of now episode up too. And I will try to remember to link it down here as well when I can. My point being, though, is just paying attention to those little things, I think helps a lot. I don't ask people to do these things. People around me actually just start doing it. They actually start wasting a lot less and realizing how much they were wasting. And it's actually quite magical, I feel, because by doing it, we also help inspire others around us to be like, oh, okay, like some restaurants now don't fill your water unless you ask for water. And I think that's great. But yet some people expect you to have water on the table. But then how many waters do you see get wasted? Do you understand how much water gets wasted and it's fresh water? Could you imagine yourself all of a sudden not being able to have water in your life anymore, and then looking back and thinking of all the water that you wasted when you wish that you would have access to all that water then. And maybe that's what you want to experience. Maybe you want to experience you had access to clean water, and then when you have no more water, you were like, man, I shouldn't have wasted all that water. Or you could have thought about it, and then you have that amount of water for your life. I'm not trying to say that it gets allotted like that, but in some ways I do believe it does. I do believe that we have this way that we can balance things, and how by not wasting there, we can have more access then. So that's my belief, and I'm not saying that you have to do that. I just wanted to share that with everybody. So you do what you do to feel better about the little things that you do. And these are just little examples I've given right now. There's so much more that I do, everyone does, everything does. And there's also so much more that people do not do either. So it's up to you what you wish to experience. But for me, my intention has always been for a better world for all. So I love you all, and I hope that helps you to see that you can go super extreme and have that gauge, but don't expect other people to. And then you can go super extreme and have that one, but don't expect other people to. So where is it that you wish to be, okay, as a person for you? And don't be hard on yourself about it, and don't expect others to be like that either. Just do what makes you happy in that time, okay? Love you all, and thank you for what you do, what you have already done, what you're about to do, anything. Thank you for being you, because we're all here together in this, and it's up to us what kind of world we all experience and what kind of world we experience from within to outside of us. So I love you all. Thank you for being you.